Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, episode 16. 16 in the books now. We're 4 months running, baby. So that's always a good sign. We got a lot to cover today. Really good show. Really looking forward to what we got to cover today. So we'll start off with our leadoff story. And our leadoff story is about the Boston Celtics. So Boston Celtics had a number of changes after their first round loss to the Brooklyn Nets. Danny Ainge has retired as the president of basketball operations. Brad Stevens will now assume that role, leaving the sidelines. What do you think?
Retired. His ass was fired.
It was going to be. I think that the team had enough of just not doing
the fans.
Well. So a couple of names that have been mentioned, and I'll throw them out there, and you let me know what you think. So far, Jason Kidd, who's Lakers assistant coach right now. Chauncey Billups.
That's intriguing, actually.
So he just recently got into coaching. He's with the Clippers now, currently. Sam Cassell, who formerly played on those championship teams. He's a Philly assistant. His name has been rumored. I think that's a really good one.
I like that one better than the other two.
Kara Lawson. She's a Duke women's basketball coach. She was actually a coach with the Celtics under Brad Stevens.
Yes, I remember.
So that's another name that has been thrown out there. Lloyd Pierce, the former Atlanta head coach. I don't even understand why this name's coming up because he was atrocious. You can see the difference with Nate McMillan in Atlanta. So to bring him aboard, I would be surprised. But Brooklyn assistant Ime Udoka, he's an assistant coach there. So again, you think about what they have
going to be.
Hold on, I got one more name for you.
Oh, one more. Doesn't matter.
Becky Hammond.
Oh, yeah.
San Antonio's assistant coach.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Popovich.
I get it.
About that coaching?
You know the Celtics are going to go female. You know they're going to, right?
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah, they're going female just because it'll sell tickets.
All right. So who are they getting?
But I think it's going to be Kara.
Kara Lawson?
Yeah. Because, well, first of all, San Antonio hasn't been good in a little while. So, you know, I'm kind of skeptical on it being her. So I lean towards Kara and Sam Cassell.
Yeah, I like the Sam Cassell move. I think Sam would be a great fit. He's a little bit fiery, something different than what we've seen with Brad Stevens.
Right.
But I like the Kara Lawsons. I like the Becky Hammonds one. I just think maybe a different system. You think about X's and O's under Popovich. She's got to have some, some kind of savvy when it comes to that. I just don't know about the toughness part. I'm sure. I mean, she was a former player as well. I'm sure she understands some of that piece. So that'd be interesting. Brad Stevens went 354, 282. So 55, almost 56% winning percentage in 8 seasons.
Yeah.
Lost in the first round 3 times.
Yep.
Lost once in the conference semifinals and lost 3 times in the conference finals.
Yep.
So when you look at his overall coaching career with the Boston Celtics, how would you rate it?
It looks all shiny and happy, right?
It looks.
Oh wow, this guy was good.
It's good numbers.
But he didn't get them to where they needed to be. Like, this team underachieved in all this time. It underachieved.
So
I don't care what anybody says. It underachieved.
So I would say this, though. If you look at the comments that a lot of the players have been making and even coaches and teams about the bubble and what happened in the bubble, I don't know if that bubble hurt them. And I think once they got out of the bubble, obviously Brad Stevens wasn't the same, but you could also tell the players weren't the same. And you saw it with a couple of organizations. So the Miami Heat and the LA Lakers, both who were the conference final champs last season, both got eliminated in the first round. So
yeah, but to be honest, Miami should not have been in that championship.
Agreed.
They shouldn't have.
Agreed. Boston should have won that series, and
Yes.
Boston should have been in the championship. So
right.
So at least we can't blame Ainge anymore for any of the. So what do you think about Stevens as an executive? Do you think his lack of experience as an executive may hurt, or do you think it could help because he knows current players?
I don't know. I mean, he comes off like he's the brainy type, and that he'll pick up, the day-to-day, moves as far as what a GM does pretty easily. The question is whether he can basically spot the talent for the team and put together a team. Like anybody can put a team together and be under the salary cap and blah blah blah, but can you get the right players? And that seems to be the problem.
Yeah, so I mean, again, if you think about from a standpoint of we always questioned his toughness, we questioned his ability to motivate. At least he's out of that role now, so I mean, it can't hurt. Let's see what he can do. Let's go on to let's cover some more NBA. Let's look at some of these second round matchups. So Philly versus Atlanta.
Well, Atlanta surprised me, to be honest with you.
With
they surprised me. I didn't think they were going to get by the Knicks.
Yeah, the ease they got through it, too. It wasn't even like it was difficult.
No, it wasn't. And that's kind of sad, to be honest with you. But this is where it's over. Like, I mean, the talent, just isn't there.
But so Trae Young took that next step as a superstar. So you can see that just based off of what he did in New York. But you also got to look at the Joel Embiid injury and how crucial that could be, because that Capella on Atlanta is a big man who has some strength. He's a big-time rebounder. That could hurt Philly. I still think they get by him, but I think this series is going to be a lot closer just based on that.
Yeah, well, with an injury, I mean, you don't even know like what happens game to game either. So if Philly does lose another player, they're not going to get by Atlanta, which would be shocking.
Yeah, and the key's going to be Ben Simmons. Can he, we know he can't shoot, but can he distribute? Can he be that all-around player for them? And Dan, I do agree. The Knicks are hopeless. They did not show up in the playoffs at all. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, so, that was pretty bad.
How about the 3-2 matchup, Milwaukee-Brooklyn? This is going to be a dogfight. This is going to be...
I agree. I mean, look, sure, they have the big 3, 4, 5, however many. Milwaukee wants this. Extremely they feel bad. That they blew it last year. And I told you when they came in to play Miami, it wasn't that wasn't going to be a match. And you can see how much they remembered last year. They should have won the championship last year. This is the team that I thought was going to win. And then I thought, oh, wow, the Celtics have a nice, easy layup going into the championship then without Milwaukee there. Yeah, that was wrong. So I'm looking for this game to go 7. I do ultimately think that Brooklyn will win out, but I would not be surprised if Milwaukee wins this because Middleton has been playing great and they've been getting that third guy every game.
Yeah.
That's what they've been needing and that's what they've been getting from somebody. And they've managed to do it and they could pull it out. I don't think they will, but I think it'll go 7.
So Dan's got the Bucks in 7. I'm going Brooklyn. I still think Brooklyn is still the best team. And I just feel like, look, it's going 7. If this doesn't go 7, I'd be disappointed because I want to see this series go 7. I just feel like the matchup is so you got Giannis, who's an MVP, and then you got 3 MVPs on the other side. And can that one beat the 3? So we'll see. It's going to be a fun series. Yeah. That's going to be a really fun series. Out in the West, Denver, Phoenix. So Phoenix upset the Lakers, if you want to call it an upset.
I mean, technically it's not, but it is. It is. But again, you called it with Davis getting hurt.
There we go again.
And that's basically what did it.
It's
You knock out Davis, you got an easy run.
yeah, they got nothing. They got nothing from anybody else. Kuzma, Schrader, these guys just they stunk it up. And I like Phoenix. I do. I think Devin Booker proved it. 47 points in the last game against the Lakers. He made sure he closed them out. He wasn't gonna let it go another game.
Yeah. Now this is the favorites now.
Well, the injury to Paul still. This is an interesting matchup because you got Jokic versus Ayton. So the two big men. Yeah, obviously they're two different styles, but does that hurt Jokic? Because now he's got to play some defense against a big man that can actually, do some stuff in the paint. So it's going to be interesting to see if that hurts him at all, because that might tire him out and he might not be the same player. If Jokic can get away with, not having to defend him, it's going to be interesting. That breaking news,
yeah.
Dan, the Lakers are looking at Beal. That'd be an interesting move.
I hope that doesn't happen.
What about Utah is going to face the winner of, and we won't know, tonight's game 6, Clippers Dallas. But what do you think about Utah right now?
Well, they made it. They had the easiest team to play in the West. When you look at it, they should have won that series, but it wasn't, as easy as, it should have been. I don't know. I think they lose. God, if the Clippers can manage to pull the next 2 games out, I would say the Clippers. But it's going to be Dallas. That's a little tougher.
Luka.
But I think either one of those teams will beat Utah.
Really?
I think they will. Yeah.
Wow. So the Utah Jazz didn't impress you at all based on what they did in the first round?
No, not really. They played Memphis.
Okay. All right. I think that it's like you said, it's going to be based off. I think they could beat either team. I think they shoot the ball so well. They're one of the best 3-point shooting teams. So we'll have to see. What do you think about tonight's matchup? Clippers, Dallas, so LA. Will both LA teams be out of the playoffs after tonight?
Well, if Dallas doesn't win tonight, they're choking.
You think they lose 2 straight?
If they lose tonight, they lose the series.
Okay, so no teams won at home yet, and LA's at home, correct?
Correct.
So Dallas, all right. Dallas is on watch. So your man Luka, what's he going for tonight?
Oh, you got to think he's going to put 40 plus. You would have to.
Isn't it insane? And you can say it, and you know what? It's believable.
Because he can just carry this team.
It's that easy.
Dallas has a legitimate star over there.
Yeah,
not like the
Cowboys. Not the Cowboys. Not the Cowboys star.
Yeah.
We're talking about a basketball star. Good call.
Yeah, so when he's on, nobody's stopping him. So, and we'll know first quarter whether he's on or not.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Tune in tonight and check that out.
Yeah, I'll probably watch that one.
Let's talk some NHL hockey time. Playoff hockey time.
Playoffs?
How was that last night, huh? Bruins.
Nail biter.
Yeah. Marchand, great goal at the end there in overtime.
He's amazing.
Right? So Islanders Bruins right now. Bruins are up 2-1. How do you see this series going?
This series is going exactly how I think it's supposed to. Look, the Bruins have played better than the Islanders 70% of the time. So that translates to 2-1. So
the only game that the Islanders won, it was that overtime game where, the Bees made a mistake and it ended up costing them.
Right.
So realistically, if you look at last night's game and even in game 1, the stars are definitely playing. Marchand, Pasternak, Hall, they're all contributing. You can see their energy. So, I don't think this goes more than 6.
I hope not.
For your health,
want a game 7.
Sanity, for your sanity.
No, it's like like yesterday, I was a little frustrated in how some of the players were playing, and I had messaged you, and like the Coil line sucked last night. They sucked. Every time the Islanders put pressure on Boston, it was because that line gave up the puck and then had them hemmed in for all that time. And it just built on that. And there was too many mistakes. And I'm not saying, picking out names, but none
You
of
never
those
do
players
that.
really played very well.
You never do that.
And I didn't like Corrali and Wagner in that game. Yes, their line seemed to be doing okay, but I mean, come on. How many times are you going to fan on a shot, miss the net, and they're not even close. They're not even close. I think they need to get Frederick in there and either Studnicka or Kuhlman to be on the wings with Lazar. And just to sit those two guys at least one game, just to say, hey, you guys got to play better. Lazar has been fantastic, but
You're still going
many mistakes.
So six. It's going 6 B's.
I believe that's what I said before.
Okay, all right. What about Carolina Tampa Bay? This is a really fun series.
Whew. Well,
Tampa's up 2-1.
Yeah,
but every game has been decided by 1 goal.
I know, and Carolina now has their goaltending situation, I guess, a little better now. He played fantastic last night, and I think they can come back if they can win this. Game 4 and tie up the series. I think Carolina can then possibly win this series. But of course, if Tampa Bay wins Game 4, it's pretty much over.
And I think we both picked Tampa, so I don't see Tampa.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But it's a fun series. I think this series might go 7. They're just they looked so close.
I hope it does.
So it should be a fun one. Colorado, Las Vegas. Avs are up 2-0. The second game went to overtime, but right. Avs just look so strong.
The Colorado Avs, I told you, this is the team. This is the only team that really scares me because it's so complete. They have so much speed. They have so much skill. I don't know if they're going to lose a game, at least until the Stanley Cup.
Oh, that'd be pretty interesting. And then obviously, and if you want to explain to the fans out there, the reseeding, it goes by seeds after this round, right? Where it's not.
Yeah, so they get shuffled up 1 to 4 again. But I think it's already been decided because of Montreal, Winnipeg.
Gotcha. Because it was based
Colorado
off
is the number 1 seed. Montreal or Winnipeg will be the 4th seed. So it's already decided because that would leave, either Boston Islanders going up against Tampa, Carolina, because they're square. All of those are in the middle of those 2 other teams in the other division.
Gotcha. Speaking of Winnipeg and Montreal, Montreal's up 1-0. We already know about the upset over Toronto, right? Which that was another upset alert. That
how bad is Toronto? I mean, seriously, that team is just inept. They're inept. They choke every year. They haven't won a playoff series since 2004.
It's not that long.
And they've been in it a lot.
What's 17 years? Hey, you can't hurt them for trying, right?
Yeah.
Participation award? Maybe.
They're just I don't understand that much talent and you just squander it every year. Every year.
So I posted earlier on Sports Unfolded on Facebook about the Scheifele. He's got a 4-game suspension from the NHL for
Scheifele,
Scheifele for that hit at the end of the game there. So I know you're fired up about it, and you wanted to make sure that we had a conversation. So, Ron, the floor is yours, my friend.
Okay, first of all, let me tell you how much I hate Montreal.
You said that already. As making them the number one team rivalry against Boston because you hate them. Yes.
Look, he absolutely deserved to get suspended, and I said 5 that he would get. He got 4. That was just dirty. It was dirty, and it was sour grapes because he's not a bad player. He's not a dirty player. He just had that opportunity to lay him out and make a statement, and it was the wrong statement to make. I mean, you can't hit him like that there. You can't. He didn't even try for the puck, and that is the whole point of that suspension, is because you have to make a play, not just destroy the guy. And that's what he did. He went in there and destroyed him.
So do you not look at it as possibly the team itself trying to send a message basically to Montreal to say, like, look, we're going to hurt you if we have to.
That's what he was thinking. He was thinking he's going to send a message to this guy.
But how do the Canadians respond to this now?
You can't send a message like that there. Not in that spot.
How do they respond to it?
The first 59 minutes of the game.
So what does Montreal do to respond? How do you feel this is going to is there a retaliation, or is it just based on they're going to just try to go out there and beat them again?
If Montreal is smart, they won't change a thing. Just come out and play, because they're going to be short-handed. They're missing one of their best players now for the next 4 games, which could be enough. And they're already hurting at the center position. Now it's up to Blake Wheeler. Like, Blake Wheeler has to have the series of his life. And they're hurting on defense. This team is hurting now. And they're taking one of their best players out of the series. This is probably like taking out Krejci. That's what it's like.
Don't jinx it. You shouldn't even said it. Oh boy. Once again,
but I think, look, Winnipeg still has enough to beat this team, but they might be so mentally out of it now because of that hit.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
I think Montreal.
It could be reversed. It might work in reverse. Once again, if you're joining us, we're on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We're on every Friday night at 6 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. If you want to follow us on social media, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Sports Unfolded, on Twitter at BroadcastingRI, on Instagram at Sports_Unfolded, and follow us if you want to just listen to us, podcasts on Spotify, Anchor, and Google. So we have a lot of outlets out there, a lot of ways to reach us, a lot of ways to get in touch, to follow. So anything you can do, we appreciate it. We're going to go to our new show and do an interview with our hosts of the Wrestling Den, Rick and Kenny. We're going to get Rick and Kenny on the line, and we're going to interview them. There's Kenny outside in the beautiful, hopefully you don't get no lightning or thunder out there. And Slick Rick the Ruler. We can't hear you, Slick Rick. Need some audio.
Slick Rick.
Oh yeah, Ricky.
What do we got going on? No,
I don't know.
Oh, nice. Can't hear you, bro.
Come on, Ricky.
Some audio issues.
Slick Rick. What are we doing, brother?
We good? We good?
There we are. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
We got voice. What are you doing outside?
How crazy is that? My man's doing an outdoor match.
This is like
Kenny's like always somewhere.
Got the basketball hoop in the background. He's just hooping it up.
He's in his car. He's outside. He's playing basketball. Like he's ready to
go.
You
never know where he's going to be. Kenny, D-man.
He gets all the fun. Is that what it is?
So, gentlemen, first off, I want to welcome you to the Sports Unfolded family. Great show last week. I just wanted to give our fans an opportunity to know what your show is about and what you got going on in the future. So, first question I'd have to either one of you is, what got you into wrestling? What made you, start to enjoy that sport?
Ken, take it away.
I've been watching it for years. You know, as a little kid growing up in the city of Boston, I'd go to the Boston Garden. You know, I'd go to Worcester. You know, I mean, I'd go all over places just to see wrestling.
I was oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Rick.
All right. So I actually was like 6 years old when I got into it, like 1996. We got into WCW. Hollywood Hulk Hogan himself. I believe when Muppets from Space came out is actually when I got more into wrestling, and then I switched over to WWF after the invasion, and I watched all my boys unfortunately job out, which is a term for losing because WWF wanted to look strong. But yeah, I got into it that way, and I actually was a professional wrestler at the age of 18.
All right, that was my follow-up question because that's my next question was.
Hello.
Do you have any wrestling experience? So, Rick, Rick's been in the ring. Kenny, have you been in the ring?
Never. No.
No,
Never. No.
You ever think about it?
No.
I just want to say real quick, shout out to Heather, who's in the chat right now. Thank you for coming. And thank you guys for having us, by the way. I didn't get to say thank you when you introduced me last time. So this time I'm formally thanking you, Eric.
Yes.
And Ron for having us on the show.
Yes.
It's been wonderful so far.
Yes. Thank you.
Pleasure. What are who are some of the wrestlers that you guys enjoy? Like, is it former, current wrestlers that you particularly like to watch more than others?
I really like the Miz. You know, I love John Cena. Ric Flair is one of my all-time favorites as an oldie but goodie.
Woo! There we are.
Woo! 16-time WCW champion right there.
Oh, look at him.
Yes.
Ricky breaking out the belt.
You know, until we get a Sports Unfolded belt, this is just going to have to be a placeholder.
That's it, baby.
I
love you too, Heather.
Baby.
So, I got Shawn Michaels as a personal favorite, but like I said on the first episode, Stone Cold Steve Austin is like number one old school guy for me. You got Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, The Rock, not Dwayne Johnson, not the actor, just The Rock himself.
The Rock. Okay.
And Hollywood Rock,
Gotcha.
and then you got guys like So I'm a preference to like TNA guys that were like 2007, 2009, like Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles. Like those are all new guys. Pretty much you got Daniel Bryan, who's in the WWE, CM Punk, guys like that, all coming from Ring of Honor 2007. So I'm into those guys. Like that's my thing.
So on the show, can we expect Rick to break out a few beers and just like chugging them down? Is that what we're looking for? Is that going to be one of your gimmicks?
I mean, it could be something along those lines. Maybe it might, end up being like 2 vanilla Pepsis instead, or what have you. Just
it is a kid-friendly show. Good call.
I mean, I could always have like a non-alcoholic Bushes or like sparkling cider, whatever you want, dude.
All right, sounds like a plan, guys. What can the fans expect from your show, The Wrestling Den?
Talk about wrestling, ping pong, maybe
ping pong, a little ping pong.
News.
All news. Current stuff, old stuff, a little bit of everything, or are we covering a particular organization, or is it everything's up for grabs?
Everything's
up for grabs. Whether past or present, I would like to have things such as the backstage politics, just essentially having a mind for the business and things like that. So, like basically what Vince was up to in the 90s, all the way to what's going on now with AEW and like Cody Rhodes and guys, and Vince McMahon. So this is one of the things. WWE might be up for sale.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. They might be up for sale. Brandon,
Sports
how you doing?
Sports Unfolded and Wrestling Den breaking some news right now. That's amazing.
Yeah, you guys want to find out about that? You can watch us every other Thursday at 7 p.m. on the Sports Unfolded Network.
It's phenomenal, gentlemen. Phenomenal. So before we finish up, gentlemen, first off, I want to thank you for joining again the Sports Unfolded family. You guys your first show was amazing. We look forward to seeing more in the future. But who would win a tag team match between Sports Unfolded and the Wrestling Den?
Who do you think?
Unfolded.
You got Kenny, the man. Okay, the man.
And I got Ron, the Hitman Rigo.
That's right.
You have no idea what he brings to the table.
That's right. You don't.
I don't think you guys know what you're in store for with Slick Rick the Ruler.
If you mesh George the Animal Steel with Bret Hitman Hart, you got me.
Oh boy! Oh boy.
That's what you got.
Okay, I see it. I see
I will
you.
chew on that turnbuckle.
Rick, I am the
Ron.
ultimate-
I see you, Ron.
I've been in the danger zone. I'm thinking you're a little insane, a little crazy.
Oh yeah.
Miss Liz.
I am the ultimate warrior times 15. I think you
There we
gentlemen
go.
are in trouble.
Macho
you
Man
guys are in
Ricky
definite trouble.
Savage.
So at some point, gentlemen, we're going to have to set up this tag team match and let the fans decide.
I think that sounds like a great idea, and we will be there
All
in
right.
the square.
All
We will
right,
be
gentlemen.
there. Appreciate
Guys,
you having us on the show. Thank you so much for this interview.
Guys, I appreciate you joining us tonight. Look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 7 p.m. On Rhode Island Broadcasting Sports Unfolded. Kenny, you got something to finish this off?
Yeah, I got a question for Ron and Eric.
Okay.
So how many flea flickers are the Jaguars going to throw to Tim Tebow?
Tim Tebow has more receptions than the other four tight ends on the team right now. So Tim Tebow is going to be a threat receiving. It's crazy. Be ready.
Yeah, and I think the over/under per game that he's going to be throwing the ball is going to be around 4 or 5.
Right. We're going to have to see. We might have to do a crossover someday, Kenny. Have you on Sports Unfolded?
Yeah,
I like the sound of that. You got to represent, dude.
All right. Gentlemen, once again, thank you. Look forward to seeing your show on Thursday night, 7 p.m. on Rhode Island Broadcasting on Sports Unfolded. You guys have a great night, and keep that wrestling talk going.
Hey, thank you guys for having us.
I appreciate it, brothers. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Well, that was Rick and Kenny from the Wrestling Den, our new show that airs every Thursday night at 7 p.m. So really excited about that show. A lot of good stuff coming out of it. We already saw some of his fans, Heather, Brandon. So you guys chimed in. Thank you. Support the show. They love the support. It means a lot. Ron, we're going to talk some NCAA basketball. And since 1980, Coach K has been roaming the sidelines for the Duke Blue Devils.
Wow, has it been that long already? Damn.
Next season will be his last since he announced his retirement. So if you look at his career overall, 1,097 wins, 302 losses, 78%. Interesting thing as I was going through this, do you realize the Celtics tried to recruit him as their head coach at one point in the 90s?
Yeah.
Think of what would have happened then. That might have changed them in the 90s because they were a train wreck in the 90s.
Yeah.
So he's won
Pretty
5
much.
NCAA titles or championships, and don't forget 3 gold medals with the Olympics.
Absolutely.
So you think about all those players. He was one of the first coaches with the Dream Team. So Michael and Magic, Bird, all them guys.
The real Dream Team.
Yeah, the first original. We'll call them the OGs.
Yeah.
And then even some of the players. So if you look at some of the current players he has, Kyrie Irving, Zion Williams, Jason Tatum, Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett that are in the NBA today, the impact he had on the NBA as well, if all those quality players, he's going to be missed in college basketball. But I think it's if we think about what happened recently too. Roy Williams retired. A lot of these old-time coaches don't like the one and done. And I think it's easier for them to just get out of coaching than realize that all you can really do now in college basketball is get a player for a year, maybe two. Right. So college basketball, NCAA needs to really change this rule if they want to keep quality coaches. Because at the same time, you're not going to keep these guys around if they realize that their school can't, maintain these guys. It's about building teams, not about building players.
That's the unfortunate thing, though. The reality is most of these players are going to want to play pro after they have, a good year. They're going to want to play pro, and you got to strike while the iron is hot. Unfortunately, that makes college basketball watered down and, not very good for the most part.
But I think that's why too you start to see some of these smaller schools that do well in the NCAA tournament because they're around for 3 to 4 years because they're not getting the exposure like a Duke, like Kentucky. You know what I mean? North Carolina. These kids are on TV all the time. They're being seen. So
So
a lot
you're
of
gonna see teams like Duke. Like, what's going to happen to them after Coach K is gone? Like, are they going to recruit as much as they do now? I don't know. Like, that is something that remains to be seen. So you're looking at some of these schools that having coaches retire that have been there forever, and players go there for that coach, particularly like Coach K and Roy Williams, like you said. And now those coaches aren't there. So now it's a free for all, and that's going to create competition sprouting up in different places that we might not have seen.
So Coach K is available. I mean, should the Boston Celtics even, kick the tires? Do you think he'd come on? Do you think he'd want to coach in the pro level?
God, I would hope so.
Yeah, I highly doubt it.
He's not going to, though.
He did say, he's been married. I think he said 57 years or something to that effect. And him and his wife, it's
I think
time.
he's done. I think he's done.
But great run for Coach K. Phenomenal. And you think about a program that really didn't have any controversy, any of these, some of these accusations. He ran a great program for a long time, and that's not easy to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe they have morals. That means a lot. That you don't get very often.
Let's talk some NFL and the Julio Jones saga. So Julio, he's still available currently. So we put up a Twitter poll, received 270 votes. But the overall favorite was the New England Patriots at 54.8%. Next closest, the Titans at 32%. So do you feel like Julio Jones will be a New England Patriot before the end of the week?
I don't know. What are they going to offer for him? That's the question.
So what a lot of what's being spread out there was first round draft pick. I could see them throwing in Sony Michel, maybe Jarrett Stidham, just to give him a backup quarterback. They're still in the quarterback market. Obviously, Matt Ryan's getting up there in age, and maybe they feel like Stidham can be that guy that is more similar to his style. But I just don't understand if New England doesn't make this move and they allow him, so the Ravens, the Colts are also being mentioned out there. That clearly puts them ahead of New England if they get Julio Jones.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, do you want to give up a first round pick next year for Julio Jones? I mean, that is the question. Like, you're going to get a wide receiver. Like, we've seen so many wide receivers that have come in and couldn't get it done and learn the system, which I find it hard to believe that all these receivers have had problems. But it's just been a revolving door. And personally, I'm not sure I'd do the first round pick. Like,
yeah, I don't think it's going to be a first round pick. That was what's thrown out there. Second or third round. Atlanta's desperate at this point. They
second, I would do.
They can't
I would definitely do.
They can't sign their rookie draft picks currently because they're so far over the cap.
Yeah.
They need to make this move. They need to make this move now because they can't get these guys into camp without being signed. So it's going to happen this weekend, most likely. New England has the money. And I just think, regardless of how we look at it, he's a phenomenal decoy. He's going to draw some attention. If you think about all the pieces that they've got now on offense, it just makes sense for them to do this.
It does. It does. But will Bill give up that first round pick? Because I think ultimately the other teams would. So I think that's what it's going to cost.
If it's a first round pick,
I don't give a first round pick and Sony Michel. I don't do that.
It's not happening if it's a first round pick. Dan believes he's going to San Diego. I find that hard to believe as well. He does say he wants to play with a winner. And I don't think San Diego's there yet, especially being in the same division with Kansas City. Just wouldn't make sense.
If you want to play for a winner, then you go to New England.
So again, most of the teams that are being discussed are all winning teams. Like there's not a team out there that is not going to pick them up. That's not a contender.
Yeah, but you want to win a championship, don't you?
He wants to win a championship. I want to win a championship again.
So where are you going to go? You go to who has been there many times.
Yep. Agreed. Ron, what time is it?
Pick and roll.
Pick and roll, baby. We pick them. You roll with them. So this one's going to be a little bit different. We already agree that we're probably not even going to be on the same, level on how we rated this.
This is hard. This is hard.
So,
like 20 different scenarios in this already.
So basically, our pick and roll this week, we're ranking these 7 players who are all known by one name. So they're one. If you say this one name, you know who we're talking about. So Ali, obviously Muhammad Ali, Jordan, Michael Jordan, Brady, Thomas Brady, Tiger Woods.
Rawr.
I don't even know if Pele has another name.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky, and the Babe Ruth. All right, so you went first last week, so I'll go first this week. So this is, I feel like this is going to be a train wreck, but I'm going to do this. You ready?
Yeah, I feel it too.
So at number 7, I'm going Brady. So 7-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time MVP, 14-time Pro Bowler. And I was going to say, I'm going to sound like a scorned lover, right? Because he left New England. I'm upset. But this is why. We never called him Brady. We call him Tom Brady. He's been Tom Brady since he's been in New England. It's never been just Brady. So I couldn't justify just saying, oh, well, we call him Brady. Tom Brady won the Super Bowl. They always say Tom Brady. They never say Brady. So I don't think he was known as a one-name athlete as much as
I always call him Tom.
Some of these other guys. So even that, right? Not Brady. Number 6, I had Muhammad Ali. So Ali, he went 56-5, 37 knockouts. He's the only boxer, 3-time linear heavyweight champ, hold all 3 belts, and 6-time fighter of the year with Ring Magazine. His impact outside of the ring as well, if you think about. So when you say Ali, I mean, it's just, his presence in boxing. But I also looked at it this way. There are some other guys that you could say, like we had debated and we took him off the list, Tyson. So in his own sport, there's some heavyweights that you could actually still say are just as big or almost as impactful in boxing. From a worldwide standpoint, Ali clearly is leaps and bounds, but from the sports aspect of it. At number 5, I had Gretzky. And again, Hall of Famer, 4-time Stanley Cup winner, 15-time All-Star. But again, I don't think in America we've done a good job with highlighting him in the sport of hockey. And when we discussed that our list with Sidney Crosby that time, and all the records that Gretzky holds, you really wouldn't know about it unless you research it or you're completely following hockey. Some of these other guys you're going to know just based off of other things, advertising and shoes and whatever it is. They never did enough with Gretzky in my eyes to make him that one-name athlete. At number 4, I had Pele. And I looked at this stat, 666 games, he had 646 goals. He basically scored a goal a game. That's pretty impressive. 3 World Cups. If I say soccer to anybody and I don't know soccer that well, one of the first names that usually pops up is Pele. If you're playing soccer, kicking the ball around, you just say, oh, Pele, because it's just so common. At number 3, I had the Babe, so Babe Ruth. Again, Hall of Famer, 7-time World Series champ, 714 home runs. Another one that had a movie about him. You think about all the historical stories that we've heard about him and what he used to do in the dugout. And the curse of the Bambino, the curse of the Babe with the Red Sox took on a life of its own. So the impact he had on baseball for 86 years was pretty impressive. At number 2, I had Tiger. 15-time Majors champion. He's tied for the all-time wins in PGA history with 82. but he changed the world of golf. And golf didn't become interesting till you heard the name Tiger. Tiger made golf what it is today. You could still see it even when he's not in tournaments. People miss Tiger. So Tiger, to me, he had such an impact. And at number one, I had Jordan. So not just to mention what he did on the basketball court, but you think about the crossovers that he had with the commercials, the shoes, the wardrobes. Nike still to this day, and even Gatorade, still putting him on commercials. He hasn't played since 2003. And he's still, 18 years later, still an impact and an idol in the basketball world like no other. And everybody debates who's the greatest basketball player in the world all time. His name is always there. It's never going to be anybody but Jordan. Are they as good as Jordan? Or are they better than Jordan? That's all it is. So he impacted that sport and created that legacy like no other in my eyes. So Jordan was my number one. You're up, my friend.
So what is the purpose of this?
Who he felt was the biggest one-name athlete of all time.
The biggest one? Okay. The biggest?
Biggest name. So if you say that name, if you were in Japan right now and you say that person's name, or you were in somewhere in Africa, somewhere in Mexico, and you could say this name, they would know exactly who you're talking about just by saying.
I was thinking best player.
Oh.
So my jumbled mess is still a jumbled mess.
Oh. Well, we'll go with your jumbled mess as the best player of all time then, or best athlete.
Okay, so number 7, I have Pele. And I was thinking he was going to be a lot higher until I started digging. And to be honest, they don't even know how many goals he has.
Yeah.
Because I've seen like 4 different, stats, and they're all different. They range from 600 and something to 12 something. So with that, all those players that are jumbled into that mess, I cannot for certain say he is the best player that's ever played in soccer. So therefore, I put him 7th. And in my mind, no, he is the best soccer player.
Okay.
Number 6, I went with Muhammad Ali. Ali, to me, is the best boxer of all time. He certainly known everywhere and very outspoken, did his whole thing, and knocked a whole bunch of people out. You gave those numbers. But again, there's still a question, who is better in that sport? There's some names that have come up that, like Mike Tyson was one of them. Rocky Marciano, I think it's Ali.
Mayweather. Are we talking
Mayweather? Right. That was who I was comparing him to be honest with you. And so I put him in the number 5 slot. Here is where it got interesting. I went. Oh wait, no, that was a number 6 slot. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, number 5 is Babe Ruth.
The Bambino.
Right, and yes, there is the whole history, the curse of the Bambino. But I don't think he's the best player of all time. It's arguably people are going to say that, and I thought his pitching numbers were going to be better than 65 career wins. But back then, they didn't play, nearly as many games in a season. But still, I don't know if he would have held up on the mound if they was doing what they did today. And I still have Hank Aaron and Willie Mays ahead of him in my eyes. So therefore, that's where he went at number 5. Still an unbelievable player. Number 4. This one was tough. It was tough. I have Tiger Woods.
I I don't like where this list is going.
Yeah, you don't. I know you don't.
I know exactly where you're going.
Number 4, was Tiger. I mean, look, I think he's the best golfer of all time. I mean, there's no decision in that. Like, that to me is already made. Imagine if he didn't have all these injuries.
Yeah. So think about this, though. So what I was just talking about is what about Jack? And I didn't even think about that. So the man he's chasing. So you
Yeah, but
Jack
by
Nicholson.
the eyeball test, he's better than Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think there's a doubt. You look at those numbers. I mean, what, 82 wins?
Yeah.
He's tied for first right now. He might not get that 83rd. I kind of hope he does, but he might not. And the majors, 15. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. And he's got better competition now than what Jack ever had. That's just the way it is. Where did I leave off? Number 4, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Number 3.
So number 3, I have Tom Brady. I mean, who's gone to 10 Super Bowls? I mean, come on, like really?
But
like
you just
nobody.
But you just said it, Tom Brady.
Right, Tom.
So
I don't care. Everybody knows him by Brady.
One name.
Brady. There we go.
All right.
Yeah, but if he's on this list, then he's fair game, in my opinion.
Okay.
Look, the Super Bowls. That's all you have to say. It doesn't even matter if he has the highest stats in passing yards or anything like that. Like, nobody's been to that many Super Bowls, and we might not ever see that again.
And nobody's won as many.
Although we might see him in the Super Bowl another time.
Please don't. Please.
So that was number 3. Number 2, I mean, come on. Jordan's number 2.
What?
He's still the best basketball player ever. Still the best basketball player. He's only 5th in all-time points leader.
Yeah.
He should not have retired to go play baseball, the dumbass.
Yeah. It hurt him.
But like, everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows who he is. Like, he's Jordan. Like, everybody said, oh, well, LeBron's better. No, he's not. Kobe, no. They're all good. Magic, no. They're all good. They are not Jordan. Number 1, you might have expected it.
The hockey guy.
But I actually wasn't going to put him there at first. First, I thought it was going to be Jordan, but there's Wayne Gretzky.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, just
Please.
look, this one stat.
Okay.
2,857 points.
Mm-hmm.
You know what number 2 is in history? Jaromir Jagr, 1,921. He's almost 1,000 points better than the number 2 point getter in history.
I agree. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Insane. Yeah. It's literally insane to even think of that.
He is the greatest hockey player ever.
It's not even a question.
But the NHL didn't do a good enough job to promote it.
Right, I went with best player.
Yeah, I got you.
Not.
Yeah. So
the biggest name is obviously Jordan,
yeah,
and then I would go with Ali second. To be honest with you, biggest name.
Yeah. Now, again, pick and roll. Again, we both look at it. And we've said it in the past. We look at it differently sometimes, and I think we probably even looked at how the topic was a little different. But Dan Pele, he said number 1, no question. Again,
I probably would have had him at number 3.
There's no wrong answer.
No, there isn't.
Once again, if you're joining us, we are live on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We're on every Friday night at 6 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded and at Broadcasting RI. Instagram, Sports_Unfolded, and podcasts on Spotify, Anchor, and Google. It's time for Face Off, my friend. This is an interesting one. So Patrick Mahomes recently stated that he wants to go 20-0. So will the Chiefs go 20-0 this season? One of us has to say yes, and be for it, and one of us has to say no and be against it. Dan, if you're on and you want to tell us who is for and who is against, so who is voting for the Chiefs to go 20-0? Dan, if you're out there and you want to cast your vote, or anyone else that's out there watching us live right now, cast your vote. Otherwise, you went first last week. You get to pick.
Come on, Dan.
Ron, I think it might be you, buddy. Let's pick it.
Oh God. I don't know. Do whatever one you want.
I'll be
you
against.
Go first. You pick one.
I'll go against. All right.
You're gonna go against?
Yeah, there's no way they're doing it. All ready? And go.
Okay, the only question I have is who are they playing? Are they playing? What top teams are they playing this year?
It doesn't matter. There's no way you go sick. The Patriots couldn't do it.
Who's going to beat them?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. They could go 19-1. They're not going 20-0.
They have a shot at this. They've got all the tools now. They beefed up that line. He's not going to get hit. He's not going to get touched. So therefore, if you don't get touched, if he doesn't get pressure on him, he's not losing. He's not going to lose. I don't even know who could beat him right now.
Who did they almost lose to in the playoffs, the divisional playoffs?
Cleveland.
Why? Because of an injury. So guess what? You're going to tell me they could go 20-0. None of their key guys are going to get hurt. None of their key guys are going to go down. And they're basically going to be perfect the entire year because nobody gets hurt in the NFL.
I think they can do it. With that line, that line is good.
That's time. Do we go 2 minutes? Because we kind of just went back and forth there. Or you want to call it?
That's okay. Go ahead. Give me your argument, then I'll rebut.
Oh, we'll rebut at the same time. How's that?
Go ahead.
So recently on ESPN, Teddy Bruschi was on, and he stated how much pressure they were under as a team when they got to that point. So from a standpoint of it's fun and dandy when you're saying it now, and there hasn't been a game played. But until you get on the field and you actually start to play games where now they matter and things are close and one fumble, one injury, one bad pass, one missed tackle can be the difference, everything is amplified. And I just feel like once you get to a point, I'm a Patriot fan, and when they were going undefeated in that 16-0 season, I wanted them to sit the last game of the season and get a loss out of the way because I knew going into those playoffs, the only person or the only team that really had anything to lose were the New England Patriots. All these other teams wanted to beat them because they wanted to prove they could beat the undefeated team. It's too much pressure. It's never going to happen. And if they're smart, they wouldn't say it ever again. Done.
Yeah. I have a no-win situation there.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Because I'm looking at it this way. He stayed pretty healthy throughout his whole career so far, right?
Yeah, he's had some injuries here and there. He had an injury in the Super Bowl. He had an injury in that Cleveland game. So, again, it can happen.
Yeah, but it didn't really keep him out.
The Cleveland game, it took him out.
Well, he left the game.
Yeah, he was concussed.
Yeah. He didn't know where the hell he was. Look, I'm not even sure they're going to come out of the
West
AFC
altogether.
No, I don't think they're coming out.
No. There's a team right on my side there. Whatever, so there you go. That could impact that, I hope. Especially if they get Julio Jones. Remember that.
Cleveland
I like. There's a lot of good teams.
The Patriots, I think both teams can knock them off. Baltimore could possibly do it depending on if they pick up anybody to help along the way. There's no way they can go undefeated. There's no way.
Let's go to our predictions.
Ridiculous.
Predictions. So I won last week 2-0 again. Another clean sweep. Just saying.
Yeah.
Game 4. On June 5th. Brewers at Islanders. Game 4.
That's tomorrow.
That is.
I'm taking the Bruins. I think the Bruins know that they didn't even play a great game, and they got lucky. That's what that's what Cassidy's going to tell him. It's like, you guys got lucky you won. And that's going to be the fuel for the fire for tomorrow. They're going to come out and they're going to get better in this series. And they're going to go up 3-1 and game, set, match.
I'm going Islanders. Last 2 games have been very close.
Yep.
And I feel like they know they're on the brink if they lose tomorrow night, that the series is probably
Such
over.
a good team. Look,
So
but the winner of this series goes to the Stanley Cup, to me, in my opinion.
All right. Also on June 5th, game 1 of the Bucks at Nets.
This is so difficult. But I'm going to go Nets game 1. It's so hard.
Nets
because
at
I
home.
really want Milwaukee to win this.
Yeah. Nets at home, though, and I think, again, it's going to be a feel-out game, but they just have a lot more talent right now to overcome that game 1.
When does Harden explode?
He did against Boston. Triple-double.
Everybody did.
The last game, so.
I mean, in a real series.
This could be the one. He could be the factor. So on June 6th, so this weekend, starting tonight, actually, right? The Red Sox Yankees. That rivalry continues. Sunday Night Baseball. Red Sox at Yankees.
I didn't even research who's starting. But the Yankees are playing well. I'm gonna go Yankees. Red Sox haven't been playing well.
I'm going Red Sox, and because of the opposite, the Yankees have played horrible the last week. They lost 3 straight to Detroit, 2 out of 3 to Tampa Bay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're not playing well.
With all this hockey and basketball, I haven't been paying attention to baseball.
So tough. So that was our predictions. If you're joining us and you enjoyed the show, next week we're going to talk obviously more.
Okay, one thing.
Sure.
I cannot believe I just picked the Yankees over the Red Sox.
That is insane.
And
I picked the Red Sox.
Can I change my mind?
And I picked the Red Sox. We are complete opposites on this. That never happens.
My God, what is wrong with me?
Even if we didn't think it, we would say it the other way just because we didn't want to say we wanted the other team to win. And we both did it. If you're joining us and you enjoyed the show, next week we're going to have more NHL, NBA playoff talk. MLB surprises so far for the season, like which teams, which players that we're most surprised about so far. A new segment, we're going to call it the Triple Play. So we'll break that out next week. And then our pick and roll, we're going to bring a little Haven Shine, little crossover, our top 5 baseball movies of all time. So a little sports, but a little Haven Shine movie review. So kind of excited about that.
I hope you have the game that I want in there.
We'll see. We'll talk. So once again, if you join us, we're always on Rhode Island Broadcasting every Friday night at 6 p.m. on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Join us on social media on Facebook and Twitter at Sports Unfolded and at Broadcasting RI. Instagram at Sports_Unfolded. And then on podcasts on Spotify, Anchored, and Google. If you haven't watched our show before, how we finish our show off is our final thought. And our final thought is based on anything that's going on recently. It could be sports or non-sports related. You went first last week, Ron, so I'll go first this week. And my final thought is on Naomi Osaka, who basically had some issues with the French Open, decided to step away. Mental health is a legitimate injury. It's not a physical one, but it's not something that you can see. I'm proud of her for at least admitting why she did it and why she had to walk away. It wasn't probably easy for her to do or an easy decision. But if you're not mentally there, you're only causing yourself more harm. People need to get help. Obviously, she's trying to get that help now for herself. And I'm just proud that she was able to admit it. And hopefully this brings light to some of that, because athletes are human beings as well. And they have legitimate issues and problems that we all suffer and go through. So Naomi Osaka, good luck. Hopefully, again, your mental health and your stability are something you're working on and are able to get it to where you need to be so you can continue your tennis career. Ron?
Very well said. You took the words out of my mouth. because I was going to do it about her. But I do have a solid plan B. And it isn't the thought of Boston versus Montreal in the Stanley Cup, because that would be the ultimate. Although that would mean I'd have to be rooting for Montreal, which I cannot do. But mine goes out to Ehlers from Winnipeg. Throughout, after that hit, there was a big scrum, and everybody wanted a piece of Scheifele. And Ehlers, or Ehlers, however you pronounce his name, he went and protected the opposing player so people wouldn't basically land on him, and he kind of protected and shielded him from the other players that were all trying to get at Scheifele and protect Scheifele. There was a big scrum, and he actually protected the player Evans, who was laying on the ice out cold, and I got to give him all the credit in the world. That is what sports is about. That right there, that one player should be, I don't know, he should get some sort of award at the end of the season just because of that. And I think that is something the NHL should look into, to reward a player that looks out after even opposing players. So thank you so much for that display of sportsmanship.
No, great sportsmanship. Great call. Thank you once again, Ron. Another great show. Appreciate the interview with the Wrestling Den, Rick and Kenny. Thank you for joining us tonight. Look forward to seeing your show Thursday night. Join us again next Friday at 6 p.m. Ron, take care. Fans out there, have a great night.
Take care, everybody.